Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the refirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. So happy to be here with you, for you, doing the things, all those things we like to do with radio and podcasting and video and all these good things. It's all good. It's all good. Last week, Mr. Electric Jack Warner, another DIY show. I'm doing a little more DIY stuff because, you know, with real estate being so expensive and interest rates being up there, best thing in the world for you is to reinvest your money efficiently, effectively into your existing home. So Jack Warner gave us a recap on all the work we had done for our electrical here at Little House Lansing. And today we're going to follow up with another one about some repairs we've done at Little House Lansing. You guys got to remember that Little House Lansing's 70 years old. I mean, you know, you look at this neighborhood and it's like, oh, that's a nice, cute little old neighborhood. We're talking, we got some mileage on this pad. So every now and then you got to go to the well and you got to come up with some ideas. So I brought my brother from another mother back in. Rob Helm's going to be joining us because he just completed some work here. We want to talk about some of the things that he did here. Let me do Rob some justice here. We're going to call this one Facelift versus Replacement, and then there'll be some other things we're going to talk about as well with entrepreneurship and refirement and all of those good things. But Rob Helm's a buddy of mine. He's a success in the HVAC industry, and it's notable. He is a general contractor. He has done many things. Rob returned to the U.S. in 2004 after playing some hoop, doing some things, learning some business, going over to South Africa, doing some good things. Maybe that's where he came across his beautiful wife, a friend of ours, friend of Sandy and I, Linda Way. Hard to say. We didn't really talk about that too much. I'm sure that had something to do with that. But you got your general contracting license, and away you went. You founded your side action business, which is going really well, as I've promoted. When we have the All Sports Headgear, and we'll talk about All Sports Headgear and where you can find that and do all these good things. Rob has teamed up with his wife, Linda Way, as I've talked about, written kids' books, kids publishing company, WBKPC, established by Rob's then 10-year-old daughter to promote bullying prevention and youth literacy. This is how it works. As a seasoned professional subject matter expert, Rob spends a bulk of his time working with schools, organizations, communities across the nation to facilitate and encourage dialogue about bullying prevention, entrepreneurship, inventing, fixing your home, saving you money, having good customer service. It's all there. It's all rolled into it. Rob, did I miss anything?
Nope. I think you pretty much covered it.
Okay, so let's do This Is Your Life, brother. I mean, it's been, you were on the show recently. We're talking about all of this effective stuff that we're doing with functional remodeling, and we're going to continue the conversation with functional remodeling because it's endless. I mean, functional remodeling is endless. But before we go there, let's talk about the family, catch everybody up on everything that's going on. Please go right ahead. My buddy, Rob Helm. Welcome back, Rob.
Hey, thanks for having me back, Tom. This is pretty exciting to sit here and chat with you again. As far as the family goes, the family is doing great. Really excited. My oldest is making her way through pre-med school, and I have my other 4 children who are working their ways to prepare themselves for college. And so all of that is great. We're healthy, happy, and really refired, really excited to get some things done in summertime, man. So it's time to really step out there and get a lot of work done now.
Talk about the dynamic in your family, because you have multiple children. You have Linda Way, who's working full time, and so mention their names. Go a little more in depth with all that. Get warmed up, please. Go right. The kids love hearing their names. The kids love hearing their names on radio and on podcast, brother.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, to dive in a little deeper, I have 5 children. I have 4 daughters and 1 son. And my oldest is her name is Kiasi Helm. And she is currently attending U of M and their pre-med program. And she is really looking forward to becoming either a psychologist or a pediatrician. So we've been really excited to watch that journey. My son, he is just turned 21. So he is a man. As I look at him, it frightens me sometimes because I say, man, I got to make space in my house for this man now. And that's really exciting. And he's working on doing some game development and, kind of kind of figure out his journey in regards to the things that he really enjoys, which centers around technology and gaming and so forth. And then from there, I have three wonderful, fantastic young ladies. My third oldest, her name is Lindy Way as well. I named her after my wife because I just knew when she was born that she was just going to be just like her. And boy, oh boy, was I right. Yeah. Yep. And then my fourth. Boy, this is a long road. She is 15. She just turned 15. We homeschool her, and she's in the ninth grade. And, she's really excited. She's into gaming and, all those things as well, like most young people. And then finally, my wonderful sweetheart, my little bitty girl, her name is Kensani Helm, and she is 8 now. And she's growing like a weed. Every time I look at her, this was my premature child. And so somehow or another, she has advanced herself intellectually and physically to just be adorable, and so I'm really excited, man. I have a great family who supports me and they give me the energy and power to do the things that I'm doing.
Talk about your wife. She's the backbone of everything, our support staff, our rudder of our lives, our wives, Please talk about Linda Way a little bit. I love her so much. She's so awesome, but go ahead. Talk about her just a tad.
Oh, gosh, I could talk about her forever. She's wonderful, as you said. We've been married for 24 years now. And it has been just a journey. My wife is from South Africa, as you know, and I'm from here, America. And so the difference in our cultural upbringing, our views on the world, all of those things have helped me grow a lot, from where I was as a young man to being a better father and a better husband. As well as she has been, like you said, just a pillar, man. She comes from like a background of hard work. I'll just say, she grew up during apartheid, things of that nature. So she knows what it's really like to struggle, but to also be able to overcome that struggle. And she's brought that into our family, which has been encouraging for me, again, to just try to be the best that I can be, because when you see someone, she's such a tiny, petite little person. You would never think that her journey has been like it has, but she has maintained the strength to, carry our family and carry herself through it. So it's been just phenomenal to be married to her.
Awesome recap. My buddy Rob Helm's with us, general contractor. Here's the setup, everybody, because, and I'll let Rob talk about this a little bit. Rob has been on the show before. We did a show a few months ago on functional remodeling. We're going to do more of this because of the costs involved with some of these remodeling jobs in our homes, or if you're getting a home prep for sale, or if you just bought a new home, you're needing some additional work done like we did. Rob came in and gave us some ideas because we had, they have a 70-year-old house here, a little Cape Cod here in Lansing, Michigan, and the little house Lansing, as we call it. But we needed some help with our bathroom, and we needed some help with the studio. And so I had to pick Rob's brain on a lot of different things. He gave me some good ideas. Rob, we got about 30 seconds here. Talk about just quickly the bathroom setup, the facelift versus replacement. We'll come back and we'll start that thread when we come back out of break. Go right ahead, please.
Okay. Well, the concept of, reface versus replace, I think is suited for being able to, it really is contingent upon the foundation, right? So that is really how you determine whether or not it's something that needs to be replaced or something that can be refaced. Is the integrity there to be able to modify it and it still maintain the quality that you desire?
Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to talk about, everybody, because you need to get a good evaluation instead of spending 10 grand or so, or 20 or 30 or 50 or whatever it is, and just saying, oh yeah, okay, because I don't know. And believe me, I don't know. You need to find people like Rob, Quality Vision Construction, to have him help you make those adjustments, make those determinations, give you an evaluation. Just like when you're getting into the personal training, everybody, you got to check for the foundation. You got to see how the bones are, and you got to get things going in the right direction. Calling this one Facelift versus Replacement, a DIY show. Fixing up our homes, doing the thing with my pal Rob Helm. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
The second segment of the Tom Matt Show is sponsored by Craig Styles, Ameriprise. You guys know this. Do I even need to do this? Yeah, I do, actually. Craig is the man. I love to promote our sponsors, all three of them. They're just phenomenal people. Ameriprise Financial is our financial institution. Craig Styles is our financial advisor, and with his help, he can help you plan for the life you want today, as he is doing for us and well into the future. Because as you know, as I've said before, all of our retirement zone savings are with Craig and Ameriprise Financial because we trust him. He's the best. He's the bomb. And life can be brilliant under his guidance. Decideri Analytics is what puts him over the top. That's his proprietary algorithm. That's the thing that does it. And he helped Anya Gerstenberg get her class done, her senior thesis class done at Michigan State University on Decideri Analytics. Got a 4 in that thing. Went really, really well. You know, when you get a capstone project like that is based on a real life application like Decideri, something's working here. You can get a hold of Craig here. 1-800-528-1355. His local number is 517-483-4853. Craig.styles@AMPM. Offices are located at 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan, 48823. Stations that have carried us in the past, in the future. I'm just grateful to any radio stations that carry us, especially the Michigan Talk Network with Steve and Ivy. Gruber taking care of business. Steve's the star, Ivy's the brains, and it all works out really well. And they have carried us on the Michigan Talk Network for over 5 years now. Stations that are still carrying us, have carried us, as I say. WGHN 92.1 FM Grand Haven was the first to ever carry us on broadcast radio, and I will forever be indebted to Will Tiemann and Wendy Hart for doing that for us. They're the bomb, and it cracked the egg for us. It made things real. WGIM 1240 AM is the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids carried us for a long time. WKLQ 1490 Muskegon, part of the Michigan Talk Network. WYPV FM 94.5, another station in the Michigan Talk Network. And then there's, of course, our PBS affiliate at Michigan State University, carrying us at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays, WKAR AM 870, and simulcast at 102.3 FM in, of course, East Lansing, Michigan. All right, back to today's show. I like doing these DIY shows because these things can save you a bunch of money. Facelift versus replacement. Rob Helm's back. Quality Vision. He's my man. He's going to be doing more work over here. He doesn't even know it yet. I got more projects I want to talk to him about. But before we go there, talking about the next projects, let's talk about what he has accomplished recently, because bathrooms are a big deal. And so I had no idea. We have this 1950s house, which is obviously up there in age a little bit. And so Rob came in and gave us an evaluation. First thing. Rob, let's take it from there. Let's start. You met with Sandy and I. You looked at that little tiny bathroom. You go ahead, man. What was your impression?
Yeah. Well, yeah, as you said, that was a tiny bathroom. Yeah, I'm 6'2", so the first thing was, if I have to work in here, I'm going to have to figure out that part. So, but no, after kind of talking it over with Sandy and yourself in regards to what you were kind of looking to do, then at that point, we just started to discuss what really makes the most sense, whether there was any budget constraints or what really your desires are. What is the outcome that you were looking for? And, once we were able to determine what that is, then we start to look at, okay, what options do we have to, actually meeting to fulfill that? And then what are those costs associated with achieving that? And so, having limited space to work in, you really got to get creative as to, what changes, what modifications you make. Sandy had an interest in extending her countertop and things to have more space for storage, which made sense. But then if you really consider everything, which sometimes we tend not to do, is we always look at, I shouldn't say always, but many of us look at things just for the present and not for the future. And for me, having experience working with people who have been injured and have become disabled and have modify their homes and things. That's the approach that I now take to just about any job that I look at, regardless of size, is okay, this is what you want. And this doesn't matter the age either, because, I've worked with people, that have been younger, as well as people who have been older and been in those same positions of mobility or lack thereof. And so that's my approach, is I try to look at things and say, okay, well, if we do this, what if something happens? Then, you may need more space, or you might need, something to be positioned over here as opposed to over there. Just to consider what those unintended, I don't want to say consequences, because that, is not necessarily something that you may cause, but those unintended things that we just don't think about in the future, because right now we got 2 legs and we got 2 arms. And so it's easy to not consider those things.
The thing is what, and then pick up what I had from there, our guest today, everybody, Rob Helm, facelift versus replacement DIY show. I like the way you have that DIY behind you on the video portion, Rob. Thanks for doing that. But looking at the present versus the future, you go into I should have measured the square foot. What would you guess, just from you spending several days in that little bathroom, what's the square footage of that bathroom? Because looking at what we have now, you want more counter space, you want all these things, but then you're astute enough to guide us and say, yeah, but what would you guesstimate that square footage of that little bathroom is?
I would say probably 6 by 6, even though that's not 6 by 6 usable space, but I would say wall to wall, you would probably, or maybe 6 by 7, but it's pretty tiny, because by the time you put a bathtub in and you put your vanity in and your toilet in, you only have really a pathway of, 24 to possibly 30 inches, which most wheelchairs, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're wheelchair bound, you have very, very difficult time trying to maneuver a wheelchair into a space that is not at least 36 to 40 inches wide. So I always try to consider that, like I said, especially in bathrooms.
So if you have that square footage, everybody, and a lot of people do, you may have a smaller bathroom in your older home, maybe a newer home, a home you're looking at buying. You're going to do a quick upgrade. I mean, I have another story I can share really quickly. When Sandy and I first got married 20 plus years ago, we had a home over in Lansing, and I thought for sure I had to put a bunch of money into the bathroom. Like, we didn't put a bunch in with Rob. We'll talk about the cost here in the next segment. But my realtor was astute enough to help me understand that don't do that. Put your money here, put your money there. That's why you want experts to help you with this thing, because in my opinion, I needed to redo all this stuff to sell this house. And they were like, no. We're not going to have a problem selling this house. You want to get your maximum return on your investment. You want to do some curb appeal. You want to do these little things first before you go into anything in depth. And that's kind of where we were at with Little House Lansing. Yeah. There are a lot of homes in this country that run into these problems. And we're going to talk more about this, what Rob found when he got into it, because there was more. Count on it. You're going to have issues. There's going to be other things that come up, and there was and will, so you can be aware of why you want to get a hold of Rob. Okay? You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our Segment 2 sponsor, Craig Stiles of Ameriprise Financial. For more information on services provided by Craig, please visit ameripriseadvisors.com/Craig.Stiles or by calling 517-483-4893. You're tuned in to The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show. Whatever station and or whatever podcast aggregator or provider that you're listening to, thank you. I appreciate you very much. Don't forget we're on YouTube, and where you can get the video of the whole show. You can get our excerpts there. You can get all kinds of clips. We're very active on social media. This is where you can find our third segment sponsor, White Law, Jamie White. White Law PLLC, where justice meets compassion. If you didn't hear the first episode with Jamie, talking about his story and talking about how he got into law, I've talked about this before. Please go listen to that. It's on our website, tommattshow.com. You can find it on YouTube if you want to see Jamie. You can just watch all that. Very, very interesting how it all came to be. I like people to get to know our sponsors and our friends, like our guest today, Rob Helm. You want to get to know these people because you want to have the trustworthy people in your life. White Law is your advocate in times of need. He will be there for you. I had a problem recently for a friend who got a hold of me. Jamie got right back to me immediately, gave me some very, very good advice on what this young person should do with this unfortunate situation. And that's the whole thing. He is there to listen, support, and fight for what we deserve, what you deserve. You need to get a hold of them. Contact White Law today for a free consultation. Did I mention free? I think I did 3 times. White Law PLLC is the website. You can go to TomMattShow.com, go to the bottom of the website. Remember that White Law also sponsors the Mad Dog Minutes, which you can find 3 times a week on our YouTube channel with David Mad Dog DeMarco doing his new thing down in Alabama, keeping him in the role of everything. But you can also call 517-777-9785. That's White Law, Jamie White, Christine, the whole crew over there. They're the bomb, and we love them so much, and we appreciate their help. And if you don't support our sponsors, we can't do the radio show. So please at least give them a call. Craig, Brock, Jamie, all of them. They're the best. All right, back to our show today. The DIY show, another DIY show. Doing more of the DIY stuff because we need to help people save money. In today's environment, economically, if we don't help people save money, then inflation is really eating into your wallet, and we got to get this squared away. So that's why we do these programs to help you save some money. Rob Helm's here. Rob's a general contractor. He's an entrepreneur. He's done many things, and he's helped us with some ideas here at the house. And we're talking about a project that he just finished. His crew and his team just finished a couple of things that he did here, but the major portion of it was a facelift of our bathroom. Our main bathroom down in our main floor of this little house, Lansing, which is tiny. Okay, Rob, so you talked about the whole looking at the present versus future. You've given the evaluation. You're talking to people. You're looking at it. Now we're talking, okay, let's get into this thing. And frankly, when you came over the first time, Sandy's drain and the old vanity that she had in there wasn't even draining at all. And you were kind enough to help us with that, didn't even charge us, which was super duper. That was great. I appreciate that very much. But that's to give you the thought, and that's the thing, everybody. Get these experts over there. So let's take it from there, Rob. So you're doing the evaluation. You see that you're already fixing the drain and you're not even starting on the project. Enlighten everybody as to what you found when you started to dive into this bad boy.
Oh, yeah. Well, as you said, the home is 70 years old. And, with plumbing and, electrical and things of that nature, as they age, plumbing in particularly, if it's not cleaned often, like your P-traps or your drain, some people do it seasonally, but, a lot of people don't unless they have a problem. And so anyway, when I came to your house to talk with you and Sandy, and she mentioned that she had an issue with the drain, and the first instinct was just to pull off the trap because sometimes it gets clogged up in there and take a look. And once we did that, we realized, okay, there is, some things in there. But at the same time, we also noticed that the new pipes that connect to the old pipes, you could see where it was heavily saturated. So that really slowed down the flow of water going into the drain. And so Sandy being handy, there's my rhyme for today. She had some tools that, I was able to use quickly to just kind of help open that up so she could at least use that drain more, I guess with more confidence anyway. And anyway, in the course of doing that, that was able to, kind of get her back going. But at the same time, she still wanted to have her bathroom refaced. So we solved that problem, which really was the issue. Initially, my drain's not working, but that led into wanting a new vanity, which then led into, wanting to update the paint, and update the handles and, all of those things. And so I think, being able to kind of build some confidence with her, being able to help her in that situation and without any expectation other than, hey, I'm here. Might as well help while I'm here. I think that's what led us into being able to have the relationship to move forward with the bathroom, to make the modifications that she wanted. And as a matter of fact, having the ability that we do have, we went on and snaked the drain after we did go and remove the vanity. Just to make sure that we had the best possible outcome. And to my knowledge, she's very happy with that at this time. So
she's very much so. And I'd like to, well, first I want to add in that with this bathroom, with this facelift versus replacement, we have that little, is it 4x4 subway tile throughout the bathroom for the most part. And so around the tub and around, you know where the water area is, everybody. So you guys know what I'm talking about. Well, the caulk around that was all messed up. Around the tub was all messed up. Around the floor was all messed up. All of that had to come out. All of it. Rob did all of that. So he did that as well. But also, prior to all that, with the slow drain thing, you recommended this drain cleaner stuff, which I'd never heard of, which was, what's it called again?
Green Gobbler.
Green Gobbler, everybody. And this is not a paid promotion. So Green Gobbler, if you want to give Rob a freaking little bump on that one, go for it. I mean, if you want to take this clip and say Green Gobbler worked great, I'm like, because I'm not real hip on putting stuff down in the drain, right, Rob? I mean, you've heard horror stories. It's like lighting a fire with gasoline. Not a great idea. I mean, so how did you find this Green Gobbler stuff? Because I'd never even heard of it.
We work in a lot of different areas. Some homes that have septic systems and wells and things of that nature have frequent problems with the plumbing. And I had one scenario where the way that the main drain was run, it's a large home, so the drain was kind of like run around the entire basement. And so the pitch isn't really, I would say, sufficient enough to have adequate flow all the time. And so every once in a while they would have backups, but the septic tank wouldn't be full. And so what we realized is that the lack of adequate slope was actually starting to have buildup on the inside of the pipe. And the only thing that we could get to use, because of the length of it, I mean, it probably is 150 feet at least wrapped around. We were able to try different cleaners, but the only one that would work was the Green Gobbler. So that was, from there, kind of like all we recommend now.
There you go, everybody. With saving you a little money, because you want to go with, I have no slam on any of these other drain cleaners and all that kind of. The only one I can even think of is Drano, and I know that stuff can be really toxic as all heck. So the Green Gobbler stuff worked fantastic. So again, Green Gobbler, if you hear this, you find it, you like it, give Rob a bump. You just got a free plug there for all this. Now the recaulking. And Rob, we'll come back to this because we're going to come up on break here. But that was a big point of the facelift. To me, the painting and getting all that trim work done and painting around that cabinet, putting new hinges on the cabinet. We had all that done, everybody, because the bathroom is basically almost brand new. But then there's some other things that we may need to do in the future. The recaulking of the subway tile has opened our minds up to the potential of some other ideas that Rob has in the future. It's good now, but for the future, we may want to investigate the things that Rob's going to tell us in the next segment, because there are additional issues that are going on, not life-threatening, but things you need to be aware of. Again, looking at the present versus the future, he's trying to be our advocate before we have a problem. And that's what you want with our folks. Rob Helms here, facelift versus replacement. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our Segment 3 sponsor, White Law PLLC, where justice meets compassion. White Law is your advocate in times of need. We are here to listen, support, and fight for what you deserve. Contact White Law today for your free consultation. Visit us at whitelawpllc.com or call 517-777-9785. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Fourth segment of the Tom Matt Show is sponsored by one of the most honest guys in the world, like our other two sponsors, Brock Fletcher, big-time Spartan, just like Jamie White, Spartan, Brock Fletcher, Spartan. The whole thing with this, Brock Fletcher, Keller Williams Realty, call him, 517-853-6408. That's the office number. You can get a hold of him on his cell phone. And this is the way you really want to do it, because Brock is very, very good about changing his messaging. He'll tell you when he's going to call you back. You leave him a voicemail. You text him to this number, 517-303-3262, 517-303-3262, or go online to kwsellingteam.com. That's kwsellingteam.com. Once again, let me remind you, the bottom of our homepage, TomMattShow.com, the website. Sponsors are there. Friends are there. Click right on through. Away you go. Remember, all of our sponsors, they have their segments. They have their episodes. They have their specializations. You have Financial Fitness with Craig. You have Talking Law with Jamie. And you've got the Reality of Real Estate with Brock. We do this because we want you to have an easy way of searching and finding the needs that you need to meet. Because I don't know what you need. You might need Rob Helm, our guest today, to come in and give you some ideas, some estimates. That's the whole thing about picking these creatives' minds. Not only can they think about it, get things done for you, like Brock did with us with Big House Holt, Little House Lansing. Thank you to Mike Dedman and buying it over there. Unbelievable service, unbelievable customer service with all of our sponsors and all of our friends, and that's what you want. You need to have those trusts. Remember, most agents, most real estate companies start marketing after they get your listing. They throw an ad up, they do some pictures, and away they go. Brock is investing thousands of dollars ahead of the sale before he even meets you. He's already out there. That's why he's doing it with us and been a sponsor of ours for years now, because people up in the UP were hearing my radio show. That's how big our reach is. That's how it works. So get a hold of Brock, 517-303-3262. Or again, go online, kwsellingteam.com. Sell your home without hassles with the selling team of Keller Williams Realty and Brock Fletcher. All right, back to our show today. Rob Helm kind of fits in with the Reality of Real Estate, facelift versus replacement. This is very, very, very applicable if you're getting a home ready for sale, or if you're just moving into a home and you want to do an upgrade before you get all invested and get all your stuff arranged before you have to move everything out, so you can just do a facelift, so you can. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So we were talking about part of the job, and this was our bathroom at Little House Lansing that Rob just did. He just did a big facelift. I mean, it looks like pretty close to a brand new room without having to do a complete tub replacement. That's where we're going to right now, because Rob, when you started and you redid all that caulk, you had the knowledge to be able to remove all that old stuff, put in the new stuff. Now the subway tile looks great. However, you found a couple of little things that you wanted to make us aware of, and you weren't trying to upsell anything. You're just bringing awareness. So let's talk about continuing with this. What did you find? What is the ideas and solutions that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Sure. Well, as we move through the project, starting with removing the vanity, first thing you got to do is turn the water off disconnected drains, right? The house being 70 years old, the shutoff valves that it had, one of them, the handle just broke right off as we tried to turn
First
it
problem.
off. Didn't
even get started.
Right there.
You already got a problem. You're sending me a picture. I was in Wisconsin. I know.
Yeah. Where's the main? Where's the water main? Exactly. Because, it's one of those situations that you don't have a secondary shutoff. So the only option then is to shut off the main, and you have to know that to be aware to do that. And so we were able to do that, get both of those replaced. And then as we continued on removing the caulk, we found along the floors and areas all around the toilet, around the vanity, et cetera. We found where whoever laid the floor previously, they probably should have added another layer of luan underneath, or underlayment as we refer to it as well, to raise the floor up so that the vinyl that is there would actually lay flat to the floor. Because the intention, I believe, to caulk around the floor was to minimize the water seeping into any of the cracks. Well, unfortunately, without the floor being raised high enough, there's really bubbles around the edges. And so the only option there is to either tape it down or, like I said, to add a secondary layer of luan to raise that floor up. And what that would do is to create a nice tight corner, as opposed to trying to caulk it and then step on it, and then that bubble drops, and then you wind up just breaching that. So those are the little things that we saw that are not obvious until you get down close to the floor. In addition to that, like most homes that have tile surrounds in their bathroom, they have caulk around the corners, around all of the edges of the tub and so forth. And what tends to happen if you don't seal tile is that over time and extended amounts of time being exposed to water, it will seep into areas of the tile. And what happens then is it mildews, and you wind up having discolored grout and discolored caulk. And so a lot of people just try to caulk over that and, hide it or what have you. And the problem with that is that you still have that moisture trapped behind the wall. And over time, that what might be mildew could become mold or it could become rot. And a lot of times you don't find that out until, maybe a couple of years down the line when you go to lean on the shower to maybe wash your leg or something, and then a tile pops off the wall. Or in some cases, extreme cases, your hand could even press into the wall. So I've seen that as well. So it's really important when you notice things to start to discolor or that holds water longer than what you think it normally would, to address those immediately. And so when we saw that, the first thing I said was, okay, we'll try to remove this. And sometimes it's just surface. Well, like you said, the house is 70 years old. And so it's beyond the surface. And the only real solution, if you want to remove it, the mildew and discoloration, is you actually have to remove the tile now, because it's went beyond the tile. And so, those are just little things that we saw, as well as like the toilet. The toilet wasn't bolted down correctly, and you can kind of feel the movement in the toilet. And so, as you said, not to upsell anyone, but to definitely make our customers aware of anything that we see, just for their knowledge. And then if you decide, hey, I think I would like to address those things, then we could talk about that further. But ultimately, the most important thing for us on the customer service side is to make you aware of all of the conditions that we have found.
That's the best thing you can have for customer service. Rob Helm's our guest today, everybody. Facelift versus replacement. So the next step, perhaps, that you made us aware of is some kind of insert or some type of tub redoing. Again, this is a DIY show, everybody. So we're talking about a bathroom job that we just had done to try to save you money. So if you're into saving money, you might want to stay on the show to the end of the show with Rob, because this really did save us money. The next step, though, if we want, because as Rob gave us the advice, would be to make the next move, which is what, Rob? There was a couple of options that you
Right.
you shared with us.
Absolutely. Well, one option is to tile over the existing wall. And again, this goes back to what we talked about, reface versus replace. And I gave that as an option because you and Sandy are fortunate enough to have the integrity of the wall still there. So yours is more associated with staining and not like the wall losing its integrity. So with that, you can tile over it, and that will help minimize what the demolition cost might be, and dust and that time that it would take to redo it. So that's one option. The other option is that there's companies that pride themselves on being able to come out and, like, I think one of the companies is like Bathtub Renew or something of that nature, where they can come in and custom design basically a glove to fit over your existing tub and wall surround. And this way you don't really have to deal with any demolition or anything. But again, if that's a choice, I haven't had the option or awareness of what that looks like on the other end of being finished. It sounds like a great idea, but that's something that you would definitely want to, maybe if you had an opportunity to see one and kind of feel with it, because I don't know that part of it, but it is an option to do. And that saves you time and saves you money as well.
And that's an option that we had no idea about. And so that's all we're talking about. And there are other options out there as well. You could, hey, if you want to spend $50,000 and blow up the whole room and put gold on the wall, good for you. Great. I'd rather take that $49,000 that I just saved using Rob's and having Rob's expertise and put that into a different place where we could get a better return on our investment. That's why we bring Rob on. We have all of our good sponsors. You want to choose the right people for your work. When we come back, we're going to talk about some refirement zone issues, some things that Rob's doing as his side action, facelift versus replacement. Rob Helm here. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our segment 4 sponsor, Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the fifth segment. If you're hearing us on broadcast radio, thank you for listening on broadcast radio, probably on WKR, some of the stations that pick up the fifth segment. Appreciate that very much. Remember, you can always get in contact with us through our website, tommattshow.com, tommattshow.com. All of the categories and topics of the shows are there. The DIY stuff, we're doing one today with Rob. Did one last episode with Jack Warner from Mr. Electric, talking about all these ways to save money in your home improvements. This is really, really important in case you're getting ready to sell your home, in case you're just wanting to do an upgrade in your home. These things make a difference. So again, go to our website, contact box, got ideas on shows, got guests, got comments, got questions, whatever. Want to get a hold of Rob, want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, send us a note. We get the email immediately. Rob, how would you like people to connect with you on your end, my friend? Go right ahead, please.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, company, again, Quality Vision Construction. Our website is qualityvisionconstruction.com. The email address that you can reach me if you want to reach out to me directly is robert.helm@qualityvisionconstruction.com. Or if you're conventional and you want to do it the easy way, you can reach me directly at 517-204-9022.
Give me the number one more time.
517-204-9022.
And he responds, and he will get back to you. I absolutely guarantee it. So today we're talking about facelift versus replacement. Let's wrap up this before we want to go into our refinement zone. Like talking about refinement zone projects and how we're doing our side action for the future. But let's do a quick recap on this, Rob, and tell everybody, if they're just joining us, what you've been talking about with this facelift for Little House Lansing, and just give them a couple minute recap. Go ahead, please.
Sure. Well, I think the big message that I would like to send in this whole idea of reface versus replacement is just taking time sometimes to think about what really is your long-term and or short-term goals. And once you've done that, then you can kind of decide as to what modifications you want to make. I think we talked about real estate, people buying homes versus people selling homes. And people selling homes, I usually recommend reface whenever possible, because people buying homes tend to come in and make someone's home their home by changing and modifying it to what their needs are. And so in the terms of replace, I really like to focus on that for long-term future modifications that are considerate of potential mishaps. And so reface versus replace is just a approach to remodeling a home to get the best outcome.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell, everybody. Facelift versus replacement, reface versus replace. You got to get the experts in here and have them help you with this thing. That's why customer service is so important to Rob, and that's why you will get gold service from all of our sponsors. All right, Rob, let's shift gears here and go into some refinement zone things, because you're approaching the milestone birthday in a few years. I mean, tell everybody what's going on out there. You got another 50 plus years to live in your life, so you're going to have this refinement zone thing coming and things that you want to do in the future. Tell everybody about your aspirational kind of goals and dreams about things you want to do perhaps in the future. And then talk about all sports as well, as far as taking an idea and a concept from a hobby into an actual functional business. So do the first end of it. What's your projection for what you may want to do with your future as a general contractor? You have many, many skills that you could share in the business world. Perhaps the university could use your skill set in some aspect. Who knows? Go ahead, talk about any of that if you'd like, please.
Wow. Okay. Well, the future as it stands for me right now, I have you're talking about milestones. And, for me, 45 years old was an important milestone for me. And now I'm a little bit older. I'm 47 now. I just turned 47, as a matter of fact, on June 11th. And, that urge of, oh, my goodness, I'm getting older, especially as I said earlier, I'm looking at adults now. I'm not seeing kids anymore. You have that realization like, oh, my God, time is moving on. And, for me, even though 50 is still a couple years out, what that has done for me is it has created this ball of energy. Like you refer to it as like refirement. And I think I am refired as well in that regard, because there was a point in my life when I basically was saying I was, retired. I was able to live comfortably and, not be in the rat race per se. And I got comfortable with that. But I also realized now, as I'm traveling further down the road, that there's so much more that I could have done. And there's so much more that I need to do. And so that refirement, as you say, that energy, I'm taking all of the experiences, the good experiences, the bad experiences, and trying to pull from that the know-how and knowledge to continue to move forward in business. As you mentioned, all sports headgear. All of these things have come together, and that's what I realized is I kept kind of referring to myself as someone who would start stuff and not finish stuff, start stuff, not finish stuff. But what I really realized at this point in my life is all of those things I started were meant to come together for this moment. And so my refirement now is to bring Quality Vision Construction and those services that I provide there, and include those with the All Sports Headgear. And they all come together because the All Sports Headgear makes a great trades towel. So, it functions great for that. And so it's just really, for me, surreal in a way to be able to see everything unfold in a way to realize that I didn't waste my time, and I still have time. And so now I'm going to continue to move forward with the energy, that ball of energy that I was referring to.
What about your all sports headgear? It's kind of a fashion fitness thing. I have one. Mm-hmm. You made one for me. It was a concept that you sort of dreamed up and came up with. But that's the whole thing where you and a close friend were watching a basketball game, basketball highlights on YouTube, and you saw Steph Curry. Tell that story, would you please? Because this is the interesting part of how creatives could see things and then move on it.
Sure. Yeah, well, as you said, man, it was one of those kind of moments that, I don't know, I had no idea what was happening, but it was surreal. Again, one of those moments. My friend of mine, who is an ex-pro boxer and MMA fighter, who also knits. Funny enough, he knits and he sews. So like those are two different extremes, I guess. But one day we were sitting, just talking, watching some highlights, and I happened to see Steph Curry, put a towel over his head after the game was over and kind of walk out into the locker room. And the first thing that dawned on me is that it looked cool. I was like, being an athlete and stuff, I was like, oh man, I never thought about that, And then that went from that moment into, dang, what if there was something that was actually meant for that purpose, And then a couple minutes later, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I was like, well, what would it look like, as he and I continue to talk. And the next thing you know, I just grabbed the old towel that I had in the house and a Sharpie marker. And I just drew it, because I was looking at how he stuffed the towel down in his shirt and how it made this little hood almost over his head. And that's exactly how I designed the All Sports. It's designed so you can wear it underneath any kind of shirt, any kind of coat, anything, without adding bulk. And so it was just one of those, I don't know. It's hard to explain that moment, really, because every time I reflect back to it, I felt like I had created the most significant thing that had ever been made. And I remember saying, like, oh, we're going to sell a quadrillion of these things because everybody got a towel, And so, yeah, it was really an amazing experience, to do that. And then few years later, to actually have a real physical product in my hands that is now on the market. It's available on Amazon. It's available through our website. It's available through our construction website, and so many other places. It's one of, I can't even explain it, man. It really is just overwhelming sometimes.
Well, it's fulfilling to have your dreams come true and you can see things through to fruition. It's almost like going to college. That's why you never want to lose your dreams, everybody. You have your dreams intact and you can continue to move forward. Rob, we got a couple of minutes to go before we're going to wrap the show, and I still would like to get another takeaway from everything we talked about today. What are a couple of takeaways that you'd like to share with either on the refinement zone thing, on the facelift versus replacement, the reface versus replace. We talked about a lot of different things, and all of these aspects of your customer service, because that's a huge part of functional remodeling is customer service. Please, what's your takeaway?
Wow. Well, I think from the refinement side is to be cognizant about who you are and where you are in the moment. And to also be aware that you can do so much more. It's easy to get, I don't know what you call it, plateaued or to get stagnant. I mean, I guess there's different ways to express that, but it's easy to find yourself in a place where you found comfort and you don't challenge and push yourself. And so that's my take on the refinement side. On the reface versus replace, I'm going to say again, I think having a unique type of customer service that we can challenge our customers' thinking as to what they want to do, I think is hugely important.
There you go. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you, to our guests, through our website, like a Rob Helm. Check him out, Quality Vision Construction, facelift versus replacement. Rob's been here before. He'll be here again. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Again, thank you to Rob Helm for being on. Thank you, Rob, for stepping back into the passenger seat here. Thank you for doing that, buddy. I appreciate you. Sandy, Craig, Brock, Jamie, all of you. We'll talk to you next week, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Lastly, I want to say thank you to our producer, Mitch Anderson. We're out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Ark of All.